For decades, the NBA All-Star Game was the crown jewel of the midseason. It was a celebration, sure, but it was also a showcase of the absolute best talent on the planet going head-to-head. But lately, something's changed. What used to be a fierce competition has started to feel more like a casual shoot-around. It's got a lot of us asking, has the game completely lost its edge?
And that's the real mystery here, isn't it? You get the greatest collection of basketball players in the world all on the same court at the same time. You'd think that would be appointment television. But the buzz around the game isn't about amazing plays anymore. Instead, everyone's just talking about the lack of effort and a game that honestly feels optional.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. This comment from a fan over on Reddit pretty much sums it all up. Comparing it to the NFL Pro Bowl? Ouch. Man, that one has to sting the league office, because it shows that the most passionate fans, the people who really love this game, are the ones who are starting to check out.
So what's up with this number? 397. Well, that was the final point total from the 2024 All-Star Game, an all-time record. And you might think, wow, that sounds amazing. But in reality, it's the biggest symptom of the problem. A score that high only happens when nobody, and I mean nobody, is playing defense. It was less of a basketball game and more of a really expensive layup line.
But here's the thing you gotta remember. It was not always like this. Not even close. To really understand why fans are so frustrated now, we have to go back in time. Let's take a look at an era when being an all-star meant you showed up to compete. A time when it was all about bragging rights and pure, uncut pride.
And right at the center of that competitive fire was the MVP award. Now get this, in 2020, the league renamed it the Kobe Bryant MVP Award. And just think about that for a second. They named it after the guy whose entire reputation was built on never taking a single playoff. He was famous for his intensity, especially in this game. It was a perfect tribute, really.
And this chart right here, this says everything. Just look at these names. Bob Pettit, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan. These are absolute titans of the game. For guys like them, winning the All-Star MVP wasn't just some cool trophy. It was a statement. It was a chance to prove on a court full of superstars that you were the best of the best. They played like it mattered, because to them, it really did.
And the history of this game is just loaded with these incredible performances. Let's run through a few of the most legendary records, because what's wild is that some of these feel totally unbreakable today, not because the players aren't talented enough, but because the game itself is just different.
First up, 55. That's Jason Tatum's single-game scoring record, which he set just last year in 2023. I mean, it's a phenomenal offensive explosion for sure, but it also kind of perfectly captures the modern game's wide-open, what is defense style.
Now compare that to this number, 27 rebounds. This record belongs to Bob Pettit, and he set it all the way back in 1962. A record like this tells you a completely different story, right? It's a story about toughness, physicality, and just flat-out battling for every possession. Can you imagine anyone getting close to 27 rebounds in today's All-Star game? No way!
And what about this one? 22 assists. That's Magic Johnson's record from 1984. See, it wasn't just about who could score the most. It was about putting on a show, about controlling the game, about a true master of the craft at work.
And this just hammers the point home. Michael Jordan didn't just roll out of bed and decide to get a few buckets. In 1997, he went out and got the first triple-double in the game's history. He was scoring, rebounding, passing, he was doing it all. For MJ, this wasn't an exhibition. It was another stage for him to prove he was the most complete player on the entire planet.
You know, it wasn't just the main event that felt bigger back then. The entire All-Star weekend had this incredible buzz. And for a long time, you could argue that the slam dunk contest was just as exciting, if not more exciting, than the game itself.
Man, the decline of the dunk contest has been tough to watch. Back in its heyday, it was a legitimate battleground for the league's biggest names. I mean, Michael Jordan versus Dominique Wilkins, that was must-see TV. Vince Carter in 2000 basically broke the internet before the internet was even a thing. But now, as Sports Illustrated puts it, the superstars just don't want to do it. They're worried about getting hurt, or maybe even worse, getting embarrassed online if they mess up. So we're left with a bunch of up-and-comers and G League guys. It's just not the same spectacle.
Okay, so you might be thinking, doesn't the NBA see what's happening? And the answer is, yeah,
They definitely do. In fact, for the last few years, the league has been scrambling, trying everything to fix the All-Star game. They've been constantly changing the format, desperately trying to find that competitive spark again.
Just look at this timeline. For most of its history, it was simple, East versus West. Then, in 2018, they tried the playground-style draft with team captains. A couple of years later, they added the Elam ending to honor Kobe, where you play to a target score, which was supposed to make the finish more intense. But after that 2024 snooze fest, they're already going back to the drawing board for the next big idea.
So, that brings us to today. Where are we headed now? Well, the league's newest plan is probably its most dramatic one yet. They're hoping a completely new kind of rivalry will be the thing that finally brings the passion back to the game.
So starting in 2026, say goodbye to East versus West and hello to a USA versus the World tournament. With so many international superstars like Jokic, Luka, and Giannis dominating the league, the hope is that pitting them against the best American players will tap into that Olympic-style national pride. The NBA is betting that playing for your country or your continent is the motivation these guys need to actually try again.
But, and this is the big but, we end up right back where we started. Like this fan points out, you can change the format 100 times. You can change the jerseys, the teams, the rules, whatever you want. But if the players themselves don't make the decision to go out there and compete, none of it matters. The problem might not be the game structure, it might just be the players' motivation.
And so that's the million-dollar question we're left with. What's the real solution here? Is it a bigger prize? Is national pride the answer? Or is the idea of a truly competitive All-Star game just a thing of the past? I'm honestly not sure, but I'd love to know what you think. What would it take to make you truly excited for the All-Star game again?